Hi guys, I was in the mood to do some cooking yesterday, so I decided to film it. The video didn't turn out as well as I would have liked, but the recipes ended up being really delicious, so I decided I would post it. I made black bean and sweet potato quesadillas, roasted asparagus, and vegan chocolate hazelnut brownies. For the quesadillas, you're going to need 2 sweet potatoes, 1 cup cooked brown rice, a can of black beans, Earth Balance or whatever butter replacement you'd like to use, and tortillas. For the roasted asparagus, you'll need asparagus, of course, olive oil, and some sea salt. The first thing you're going to want to do is wash off all your sweet potatoes and asparagus. I ended up making 4 sweet potatoes because I didn't know how much I was going to need for the recipe, but for 3 quesadillas, you need about 2 sweet potatoes, and for the asparagus, of course, you can make as much as you'd like. Once everything's all washed off, you can put your sweet potatoes in the oven right away because they take the longest to cook. I would set your oven to about 425 and it'll take between 40 minutes and an hour. Then you can get started trimming your asparagus. Just chop off the ends and you can place it onto a cookie sheet or whatever you'd like to cook it on. Then you can drizzle some olive oil over your asparagus. You can use whatever kind you like, of course. I use Cola Vita, or however you pronounce that, but you know what I'm saying. Then you can add some salt and pepper if you'd like, toss everything around, and it's ready to go in the oven. It can go in on the exact same temperature as the sweet potatoes, 425 degrees, and will cook for about 20 to 25 minutes, depending on how crispy you like them. You know your sweet potatoes are ready to come out of the oven when they're starting to ooze, as gross as that sounds, and when they're super easy to cut open. If they've been cooked long enough, the skin should slide right off. Just make sure that you let them cool off enough so you don't burn your hands. Now you can start dicing them up and put them aside in a bowl so that they're ready to go when you start making your quesadillas. Now it's time to get started with your black beans and rice. I ended up using a whole can of black beans and a little bit less than a cup of brown rice. To my rice, I added some cilantro and lime because I already had it prepared, but I think it would taste just as good without it, so you don't have to do this if you don't want. Then you can mix everything together, mash it all up, and if it's not mashing easily, just put it in the microwave for about 2 minutes and it should be ready to go. I added a little bit of Earth Balance when I did this. Now you can turn on your stovetop, get your skillet heated up, and you'll be ready to make the quesadillas. For the first one, I just added a little bit of Earth Balance to the skillet so it would be ready to go for the tortillas. I ended up having enough ingredients to make 3 quesadillas, and if you're curious about the brand of tortilla I used a brand called Rudy's. Just place your tortilla into the skillet and you're ready to start layering on the ingredients. First I did the black beans and rice, and then I layered on the sweet potato. I actually meant to add some vegan cheese to these too. I generally use the brand called Daya and I use their mozzarella shreds, but I forgot and they were absolutely delicious without it. So you're welcome to add it if you'd like to try, but it also doesn't need it if you don't want to. After you've got all your ingredients into your tortilla, you can fold it over and let it cook. I flipped it over after about 1.5 minutes and it turned out great. Then I went ahead and made some guacamole to have on the side and to dip the quesadillas in. It ended up being a good combination, the sweet potato and black bean and guacamole all together. And voila, your meal is done. Next, I'm going to show you how to make vegan chocolate hazelnut brownies. These are great whether or not you're a vegan, and everyone in my family loves them. For the brownies, you're going to need almond meal, some flour, cocoa powder, sea salt, baking soda, flaxseed and water to make a kind of vegan egg, something that binds everything together. You'll also need some vanilla, Earth Balance or a butter replacement of your choice, chocolate chips, and hazelnuts. The first thing you're going to want to make is the flax egg. You'll need about 1/4 cup of water and 3 tablespoons of ground flaxseed. You'll want to do this first so that it has time to sit and thicken while you're getting everything else together. Now you can start preparing your dry ingredients. You'll need 1.25 cups of flour, 3/4 cup of almond meal, 1/2 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, a pinch of salt. Then you're going to want to stir all of your ingredients together, which is kind of hard to do with one hand and why it looks like I'm just spinning the bowl around. Then you can add 1 1/4 cup of sugar. I used raw turbinado sugar. Now you can go ahead and melt your Earth Balance butter and vegan chocolate chips. I used a stick and a tablespoon of Earth Balance and Ghirardelli semi-sweet chocolate chips, which happen to be vegan, about 3/4 of a cup. You can either melt them on a double broiler or put them in your microwave on 30-second intervals. Next, add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract to the mixture. Once you've done that, you can pour all of this into your bowl of dry ingredients. Then you can go ahead and add in your flax egg. The mixture should be nice and thick by now and will hold everything together in the baking process. Then just go ahead and stir everything together. If you want to add anything to your brownie batter, now's the time to do it. I ended up using about a half cup of hazelnuts, which I then went ahead and tried to chop. You could also use chocolate chips or walnuts. The hazelnuts, though, ended up being a really nice addition, and even my lack of chopping skills ended up working out because there were some smaller pieces, as you can see, and then some almost completely whole hazelnuts, which gave the brownies a nice variety. Now you'll need a 9 by 9 inch square pan. You can grease it up with some Earth Balance and then put your mixture into the pan. Spread your batter out evenly, and then you can put it into a 325-degree oven for about 35 to 40 minutes. Once your brownies are done, make sure you let them cool off completely before you cut them. If you need your brownies stat or are super impatient like I am, you can put them in the fridge. And ta-da! Your brownies are done. Now you have an amazing vegan dinner and dessert for you and whoever else you want to share it with. If you try any of these recipes, I'd love to hear in the comments how they turn out. Let me know what you think.